State's dual enrollment webinar. My name is Sarah Davis. I'm the manager of recruitment services at Pellissippi State. I'm going to go over a few housekeeping items before we get started. So we would like to take as many questions as possible at the end of the presentation or the end of the webinar. Please submit your questions that you have through the Q&A box, and we'll get to as many of those as possible at the end. Also, if you'll please submit your questions, or please do not submit your questions anonymously. That way, if we're not able to get to your question tonight, we can follow up with you after this webinar. And I think there's a few more people hopping on, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our dual enrollment specialist, Spencer Joy. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. So I'm going to be going over quite a bit of information here. Again, like Sarah Davis said, hopefully ask questions, write questions down. The presentation is really it's an overall kind of general presentation that really would apply to the vast majority of students, regardless whether you're in a public school setting, a private school setting, or a public school, homeschool independent study community. Excuse me, I almost left out one of our most important bunch there. So give me one more second here and we will be ready to be ready. All right, so I think Sarah already introduced herself, and I'm Spencer Joy. I'm the dual enrollment specialist at Pellissippi State. I have been in this role for, I guess, going on about 12 years, and it has been an awesome job to be able to help so many young people. And I think I've probably helped 21,000 students during my time. So just really quickly, for those of you maybe who have never heard of dual enrollment is the opportunity for eligible high school students to start taking college classes early. Students are earning both high school credit and college credit simultaneously. So students take classes with us as Pellissippi State students, and of course, they are still students of their high school, homeschool, independent study community, so on and so forth. So this is just kind of an overview of some of the things that we're going to cover tonight. It's kind of boring at first with the requirements. I will try to move through those as briefly as possible. And again, as Sarah Davis had said earlier, I think we're going to be able to send this back out to you guys. So, if you need to go back over and watch, you'll be able to do so. So before I begin really digging in to the ins and outs of dual enrollment, there is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. It's known as FERPA. It is students' records when they enroll in a college are exclusively between that college and that student, regardless of age or really anything. Coming through the door, regardless whether a student is 13 or 87, their educational records are only between Pellissippi State and that student. However, we understand that there are oftentimes others that may need to help along the way, maybe a parent, but of course, this applies to all students, not just dual enrollment. And I always recommend to dual enrollment students that if a parent, once the student is enrolled, if a parent is going to need to be potentially if there's an issue in a classroom where, if a parent needs to speak with an instructor alongside of a student, this disclosure of records form must first be completed, and it's accessible to all students after they enroll in what's called their My Pellissippi account. This is really the same process for almost all all colleges out there. So not just Pellissippi, but just wanted to make folks aware of this FERPA regulation. And if this were a major issue or problem all the time, I definitely, would be enjoying my job as much as possible. But there are times when students and parents definitely need to fill it out. So dual enrollment students can take any classes that we offer, so long they meet any of the academic requirements or prerequisites for any of those courses. Dual enrollment students take courses on any and all of our Pellissippi State campuses. That's Magnolia Avenue campus, Strawberry Plains campus, our Blount County campus in Blount County, and the Hardin Valley campus in West Knoxville. Students take advantage of our online options. Students can take courses online or in person or both. Some students take one class online, one class in person. It is entirely up to that student's preference. And we do offer some courses on high school campuses. Oftentimes there is there a cost associated with dual enrollment? There usually is, and that is oftentimes only in the form of textbooks or any type of e-text online course materials that a student would have to have in order to succeed in that class. And as we're thinking about dual enrollment and planning this out, I don't know, I talk to parents that are parents of 7th and 8th graders. So I don't know. And then I, talk, of course, to many parents who are their sons or daughters are seniors. So I don't know the demographics of the group tonight, but regardless, of course, 7th and 8th graders can't do dual enrollment. But when the time comes for dual enrollment, whenever that may be, hopefully the sooner the better, any dual enrollment plans or ambitions, they must be run by your high school counselor or your homeschool administrator or whoever your contact may be at your school. So you really, if you're going to be earning high school credit for a class with us, you must first get that approved from your high school independent study program, so on and so forth. So one thing that's changed in the last couple of years, big time, is the ACT is not required for students who have an unweighted 3.6 high school GPA, except in the case of higher level math and science courses. So moving into the requirements, the academic requirements for dual enrollment. So if a student has a 3.6 high school GPA unweighted, they technically do not have to take the ACT in order to enroll at Pellissippi State. This is not only applicable to dual enrollment students, but to high school graduates and so on and so forth. Students need to take the ACT at least, I think, once, but at the end of the day, if you have a junior in high school who maybe hasn't taken the ACT yet, if they have a 3.6, that is no longer a barrier, except in the instances of higher level math and science courses. But if a student doesn't have a 3.6, students do need to take the ACT. And the academic requirements for our general education classes, which are the most popular options that students do, are typical general education classes. Students, again, can take any class that we offer, from blacksmithing to fitness walking to calculus to whatever. They just have to meet any academic requirements for those courses. So these are just some common ones, common general education courses that are going to count for a high school credit in some way, maybe even a high school graduation requirement, as well as a college credit. And the requirements are, if a student does not have a 3.6, a 3.0 unweighted GPA, and an 18 in English on the ACT, and a 19 in reading. I've also listed the SAT scores there and the Accuplacer test, which is an in-house test at Pellissippi that students can take if they don't have the qualifying scores. But to take any general education course, a student does have to have a 3.0 and have qualifying ACT scores or placement scores if they do not have a 3.6. So math is a little different. For a student to take higher level math or science courses, they do have to have an ACT score. If they don't have the 3.6, they have to have a math score of 19 to take biology, or there are classes, where students can, a 3.6 gets them in the door for general biology or an intro to biology and intro to stats. But if the student wanted to take pre-calculus, they have to have a 22 on the ACT as it's listed there on the slide. Also listed calculus there. It's a super popular option for students who are ready to excel in math. It's a great dual enrollment option for students that we know are going the math and science route and are ready to kind of take it to the next level. So we also offer courses for students that, that aren't super academically inclined per se. And if they don't have the 3.6 GPA or the 3.0, there are definitely classes that students can take. Students do have to have at least a 2.0, and they do have to have had some kind of test, and those are listed on the screen. So these types of classes would be any of our PE classes, drawing, trying to think of some other popular ones. Many of our our hands-on courses. We have a criminal justice program students can take. If they don't have the 3.0, but they do have some qualifying ACT scores, they can still do those. So there's a long list of career program courses where students potentially could start in if they didn't have the qualifying scores that I've mentioned for our core gen ed types of classes. So in terms of the nitty gritty, the next steps, a student gets to the dual enrollment webpage. You can Google dual enrollment Pellissippi. That's the best way to get there. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, this is exactly the checklist that you would see. It's just a screenshot of it. So these are exactly the steps that a student would need to complete in order to enroll at Pellissippi. So I'm going to go through them really quickly. And again, we're going to send this out so you guys will have it. I have there's some more instructions in terms of completing the steps. I'm obviously not going to read through all these, but this is a little more step-by-step instructions for students to complete the dual enrollment application and the dual enrollment grant. Now, I am going to stop here and talk quite a bit more about the dual enrollment grant, but let's see. I'm actually going to start with this one and go back. I have my slides out of order. I'm sorry for that. So I don't know. I would suspect that some of you guys maybe have had some experience with dual enrollment. Maybe you've had a son or daughter that's done this in the past, or maybe you are getting ready to start dual enrollment. Maybe you've already done some of these steps, but the dual enrollment grant has changed dramatically over the years. It used to only pay for about 2.5 classes, and now it will pay for a total of up to 5 courses. And that's really regardless of the credit hour of the course. For instance, fitness walking is a 1 credit hour course. English 1010 is a 3 credit hour course. Any lab science is a 4 credit hour course. So regardless of the number of the credit hour for the course, the dual enrollment grant will pay for up to the first 5 classes. There is additional funding for courses beyond the 5th class, but it's just for the sake of time and ease, it comes out to parents and students owing about $240 for a 3 credit hour class, which is most of our classes are, for any class that a student takes beyond the 5th class. So it is a really, really great opportunity. It's a huge cost savings. I mean, obviously, it's not as great as the Tennessee Promise, which I'm sure some of you have heard about in terms of 2 years free community college, but it is 5 free classes then this is only available to students while they are in high school. Taking advantage of the dual enrollment grant program has no impact on any future scholarships or grants. So it's just money that's available to students while they are in high school. So let me go back up here. I'm so sorry, this is out of order. So the grant is available to juniors and seniors who meet the following. They have to meet the admissions criteria like we just spoke about. And once a student starts taking college courses, they have to maintain a 2.0 college GPA in all of their dual enrollment coursework. That requirement has changed. It used to be previously a 2.75. So there's a little more grace added in now. And so long as student maintains a C average in all of their dual enrollment classes, they will be eligible to continue in the dual enrollment grant program. So, and students have to apply for the grant each academic year. So once each time during the academic year, before the semester, students have to apply. So that's students have to be juniors and seniors. They have to meet the eligibility requirements. They have to be enrolled in a high school. That's not on here. But it's not income based. It's not first come, first serve. This is eligible to all Tennessee students who meet these requirements and are enrolled in a high school. So let's see. There is, as you guys are applying for the grant, this is, students, when is the next time a student could start? Well, that would be this summer. And summer is an option for students. Again, all dual enrollment expectations and goals need to be approved by someone at your high school. But the summer grant application, these are screenshots taken from the TSAC student portal that just show if we are going to do the summer grant, you would apply for the one at the top of the dual enrollment list. There's 2 there, and then the one for next year that for this fall so we want to make sure we apply for the correct grant as we are doing that application. The last question on the dual enrollment application, students have to make sure they select Pellissippi State as the college or university of choice. And so now there's on the checklist, there's a reference to the immunization waiver, and that is found. I will go back before we're done. I'll go to the dual enrollment webpage and show you exactly the form and what this entails. But it is a step that all students have to complete. It is super, super quick and easy to do. And again, I will go back to refer to that before we're done. So after a student has applied to Pellissippi, they've applied for the grant, they've hopefully completed the immunization waiver, simply ask your high school counselor or someone at your homeschool independent study program, private school, wherever, to send a copy of your high school transcript and your ACT scores to Pellissippi State. And this is a little bit out of order, but after a student applies to Pellissippi, they'll receive an email from the college within 2 or 3 days of the application. And in that email, when a student applies, they have to put in an email, and students need to use an email that they can access, preferably a personal one if they have one instead of a school email. And an automated email would be sent. It's sent to all students who apply. And the second sentence of that email will reference setting up a student's what's known as My Pellissippi account, which is a Pellissippi State email address and a P number, which the college issues to students after they apply. So there are instructions that students have to follow in order to retrieve this username and their password. So that is sometimes one of the more challenging parts of the entire process, but this is all part of the flow. And in every dual enrollment student I've ever seen is at some point when I see them is a first-time student. They have never done any of this. So it can be extremely foreign and different. And the transition experience of dual enrollment really is, starting to kind of navigate these waters is indispensable to students starting early, so they're fully prepared when they hit the ground running after they graduated, they've done some dual enrollment, so on and so forth. So here's some instructions about registration. Again, I'm not really going to go through these now. It's just simply a resource for folks. That's almost the last step. And this is a slide. As students are going through the process, it's not uncommon that there could be a hold on their account or they're unable to register for some reason. And you can always just reach out to the college and say, I think there's a hold on my account. And once students are able to log into My Pellissippi, there's a box that clearly shows if a student has a hold or if there's something that's prohibiting them from registering. So fee payment. So as I said, and the dual enrollment grant covers the cost of the first 5 classes for all juniors and seniors who are eligible to do dual enrollment and have completed the process. So most of our classes have some type of textbook requirement, the vast majority. Some of those textbook requirements have no cost, they are free. Others come in a traditional form of a book, it's an actual book. We still have those. Many of our classes still do have traditional textbooks. And then a lot of our courses have what are known as e-text, which are online materials that are part of the class. And if a student has almost the entire math department, and that's not just the case at Pellissippi, UTK, many other colleges, they do this e-text process is what is happening. And there's good and bad about everything. It is super convenient. Students don't have to go to the bookstore. The book is automatically loaded into their course, into what's called their Brightspace account. Most textbooks range from as low as $45. It is very rare to see a textbook for $100. Most are $65 to $75, whether that be an e-text or an actual book. That's just kind of a general estimate. I included here remaining tuition balance. Well, that would be the case if a student has completed 5 classes already. So there will be a tuition balance for students who complete more than 5 classes. And that tuition balance does have to be paid before the beginning of the semester. So this is just a list of things that students need to do or think about before classes begin. Every student's going to be issued a Pellissippi State email account once they apply to Pellissippi, and it is critical that students check their Pellissippi email account, especially as we're getting closer and closer to the beginning of the semester. Brightspace is the college's learning management software, a learning management platform where every single class that we have, whether it be in person or whether it be online, there is an online learning management platform across the board, periods. For instance, the student is taking English 1010. There is not an English class taught at Pellissippi where a student can submit a paper in any other fashion other than through the class in Brightspace. So again, every, whether it's in person or online, Brightspace is an integral part of the learning process at Pellissippi State and at all colleges. Other colleges, there's Brightspace is just another name for something like Canvas, or there's many other types of these platforms that colleges are using all over the country. I talked about textbooks. I think students, if it's an e-text, the book is automatically loaded into Brightspace. If a class has a traditional textbook requirement, I tell students to wait until the very first day to hear from their instructors exactly what textbooks are going to be required before they purchase them. Parking at Pellissippi State is completely free for students, and students can park in any open parking lot on our campuses, and there is a plethora of parking available on all of our campuses. Student IDs are recommended for dual enrollment students. It's not necessarily required, but if a student is going to use the library, if a student's going to use the free tutoring center, if the student wants to use the student recreation center, any of those things, those great things, require the ticket in to any of those places is a student ID. Student IDs are free. Students can get them made, I think it's a week before the semester begins. That's the earliest. Replacements, I think, are $10 or $15. I can't remember, but the first one is free. And like I said, if there's many things that all students can take advantage of at Pellissippi State, but sometimes just got to have a student ID to scan in. So the first day of classes for the fall semester is Wednesday, August the 16th. And I have some other dates on here. Summer, these are deadlines. The dual enrollment grant deadline is May 15th for this summer. First day of summer classes, I didn't put the date there. Excuse me, that's a blunder. It's the, sorry about that. 28th, May 28th is the first day of summer classes for the first session. August 16th, first day, I already said that. And October 18th, registration begins. Oh gosh, I didn't put the registration date for fall. That's critically important. So April the 3rd is the first day of when students can register for classes for the fall, April the 3rd. I'm so sorry I left that off. So students could complete the steps for admission, go through those, and in theory, be able to register as early as April 3rd. I don't know classes, yes, they do fill up, but I tell students always, in terms of the fall, to have everything done in terms of the admissions, all the admission steps, and register for classes before Memorial Day, because it's after Memorial Day when classes really start filling up later in June, especially in July. So we don't really want to wait. The sooner the better. And the steps to complete the steps for summer or fall, students can do those at any time. So students can begin in preparation for the fall now. In terms of the spring, registration begins on the 18th. First day of class is January the 16th for spring 2024. So this, again, I think this information has been here, but I wanted to put it one more time. And definitely I wanted to note on the dual enrollment webpage, there is an appointment link, and I can show you guys where that is, to where if any anytime a student or parent needs to get a hold of me, it is a great way to do that, where you guys can set up a time to meet either via phone, via Zoom, or in person. So I will show that on the dual enrollment webpage before finished. And one second here, and I will head over. So to get to the dual enrollment webpage, again, I'm just going to Google dual enrollment Pellissippi. Of course, it shows up there on mine. So once we are here, and all of you have been there at some point, otherwise you wouldn't have been able to RSVP for this event, which I greatly appreciate you all doing. So students can and families can always schedule a time to meet if you have questions or need assistance with any part of this process, or you have follow-up questions that that are intricate or maybe we're not able to address tonight. Always feel free to head over to the dual enrollment webpage. You can always schedule a meeting. Glad to help you. All the meetings are with me. And then there's a little more contact information there. But this checklist that I've referenced, I don't know, at least a dozen times probably, is all the way down towards the bottom of the page. And then once you click on it, it will take you exactly to the steps that I have been discussing. So they open up, of course, and you can just follow along and complete them. I did say something about the immunization waiver. I will go back to that. So again, this is required, and a student cannot complete it until they have applied to Pellissippi, and a student has to have their P number. They enter student's first name, their last name, and then we mark whether or not a student has had these immunizations or whether they haven't. We don't need you don't need to necessarily call the doctor or shot record, whatever you need to do just to complete the form. And then a parent fills out first name, last name, and then the PIN is the last 4 digits of a parent's social security number and the 4-digit year of birth. And then, of course, you do the little puzzle part here and hit submit form. And that takes care of the immunization waiver. But again, can't be completed until a student has applied to Pellissippi and they have their P number. So let's see. I think that I believe is all that I have for now. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. Sarah, can you think of anything that I have forgotten? Or
Hey, Spencer, that was a lot of really good information. I can't think of anything that you left out, but we do have a couple questions. So the first question is, where can we find out what classes are being offered? Like, do we have to have My Pellissippi, or is there a class search option?
You got it. So I will go to that web page right now, and I will, let's see. So it is easier with a student has a My Pellissippi account, but there is a way definitely to do this, and that is I'm on the main Pellissippi page, and under the A to Z index, under the C's, course schedule. And you can select the term and submit, and you can go through this. I wish it were a little easier, but it definitely works. And I'm doing an example for English 1010, and then it will show all of the English 1010 courses that are scheduled for the fall semester. So I don't know if there's a way to send the link other than just copy and pasting it. But so let's see. Now, we are planning to email the PowerPoint, I believe, right?
Yes, this whole webinar is being recorded, so we'll send out the recording, and we can email the presentation as well.
Sure.
Yeah. I have another question, Spencer.
Sure.
Will dual enrollment classes transfer to other colleges and universities?
Okay, so the vast majority of our classes are going to transfer to the vast majority of colleges in the country. Honestly, I mean, yeah, I know places. I was working with a young lady going to BYU. I don't know how many people at BYU are familiar with Pellissippi State, here in Knoxville, Tennessee, but dual enrollment is going on in all 50 states. And I to tell you the truth, BYU is a great example of Brigham Young University in Utah. I have no idea if they take our credits. That is actually totally between the student and that institution. But there's a lot of students that aren't traveling out of state. They're going to UT Knoxville, for example. And there are classes that students can take with us that don't work towards a student's major. If a student is going to go into the field of engineering at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and they take Math 1530 introductory statistics, it's possible that introductory statistics will transfer, but it will not work towards a degree in engineering. So, the vast majority of our general education courses, students are gonna, they're gonna have to have English. They're gonna have to have something psychology, sociology. There's humanities and fine arts as electives and those kind of things, and that is where there is very little problem with the transferability of credits. We run in, really it's the privates, it's small private schools, it's the upper echelons of the Ivy Leagues and so on and so forth, where, I'm not sure how much dual enrollment credit they're actually taking from anywhere, but all, across the board, it's generally pretty safe to say that the vast majority of coursework that students complete with us as dual enrollment or transfer students is going to transfer to another institution.
Thank you, Spencer. I've got another question. Are there any classes a dual enrollment student are restricted from taking, or are they allowed to take any class?
So first I'll say study abroad. Dual enrollment students cannot do study abroad, even though that's not necessarily a specific class. And dual enrollment students can't do nursing, but they really couldn't do nursing as a beginning college student to begin with. A student has to, there are prerequisites that a student has to complete before they could. We have a nursing program at Pellissippi State, a great nursing program, and while a student could not enter into those actual nursing courses, they could begin taking prerequisites to get to where they need to be able to take those nursing courses. Other than that, I am not aware of any limitation other than a student just having to meet any academic requirements for a course that they would want to take.
Thank you, Spencer. Okay, I have another question here. My daughter's thinking of taking some AP courses at her high school. What are some of the differences between dual enrollment and AP?
Okay, so I love this question because for we work, the majority of the students in dual enrollment we serve are from public schools, and in Knox County they have an excellent, robust AP program, and advanced placement is an opportunity for students to take an extremely rigorous high school class. And then at the end of that class, they have a final exam, essentially. And if they do well on that exam, that equates to college credit that is accepted the vast majority of colleges in the United States. And there are many different AP options. There's English, math, there's sciences, all kinds of stuff. And of all the students I work with, the vast majority of them are doing both. They're doing some AP, they're doing some dual enrollment. And at the end of the day, the goal is really the same, and that is college credit. Students that enroll in AP are generally doing so with the idea of hopefully earning some college credit. Students who enroll as dual enrollment students are enrolling with the idea of having some college credit. So the big difference is in dual enrollment, a student has a whole semester to, per se, prove themselves. They have 15 weeks where they're meeting, they're submitting assignments, they're completing tests, quizzes, all the work that would go into a 15-week semester. Advanced placement, it's the same way. They have an advanced placement class. They're submitting assignments, and maybe doing really well in the course. But the college credit is only awarded based on the test and how well that student does on that test on that one single day after the AP class has finished. So, if a student goes to take the test and they're not feeling well, or the car wouldn't start, something like that, that may decrease their ability to do well on that test. That really while they work towards that for 15 weeks, at the end of the day, all the rubber only meets the road there on how well they do on that one test. So both are great options, and students should take advantage of anything and everything they can to get ahead. And there's good and bad about everything.
Thank you, Spencer. Okay, I've got one last question for you. And I think I can handle this one. Do dual enrollment students need to complete a FAFSA? And in case you don't know, the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. And the answer is no. The dual enrollment grant is what will pay for that dual enrollment class. You don't have to worry about the FAFSA until your senior year in high school, and that's for going to college as a first-time freshman.
Absolutely. And I don't know if anybody on the call or on the meeting has completed the FAFSA before. It's not necessarily a nightmare, horrible experience for everybody, but it can be a pretty big task. And the dual enrollment grant application is probably the easiest scholarship application that a student or family will ever complete. It's very, very quick, and it doesn't require any type of tax return information or anything like that. It is just simply, a student has to have their social security number in order to complete it. But other than that, it's pretty much general information in order to complete that.
Awesome. Thank you, Spencer, so much. I think that's all the questions that we have for tonight. Oh, hang on, one just popped in. Oh, okay. I'll get back to that student. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Spencer, thank you so much for all the wonderful dual enrollment information. Please reach out to us if you guys have any additional questions. Again, you can call us at our main number, 694-6400. You can email dualenrollment@pstcc.edu. You can text us, you can chat with us, make an appointment to meet with Spencer on that dual enrollment website. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and everyone have a fantastic evening.
Thanks, guys. Take care of yourselves.